All right, well, here we are. This is Rio with Unity Gaming Group. I am a player of Star Citizen, and this is one of my favorite streamers. I watch a lot of his stuff. It's Kabutopz, and he's just amazing. I mean, he really is. He's a great personality. He's very reasonable in what he's saying. Um, he does crash quite a bit on things that are really bothering him, but it's Star Citizen. What isn't bothering you? I mean, at the end of the day, it's a buggy mess most of the time. So, I mean, I get it, but I just saw his Sid We Need to Talk Part 2, and I thought I'd go ahead and start commenting on it. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to watch it together. And I'll just comment here and there. I'll pause it and we'll talk about it real quick, and then we'll go from there. So let's go ahead and get started on this. Um, a little bit about me. I am a retired disabled person. I did work in the dev world. I have been a developer before. I've also been in IT for over 35 years. Um, so I've got a lot of experience in these forums and in these different industries. So I'm going to give kind of my thoughts on it, and then we'll go from there. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started on it. Now, I definitely want to hear what he has to say again. I watched it earlier, and I'm like, wow, wow. I saw the whole live stream actually, and I got to tell you, man, it was very entertaining. There was a lot of different opinions on things. And there's a lot of things I didn't agree with, and then there were some that I did. But mostly it was from the chat rather than Kabutopz. I mean, he did all right. So, or Kabutopz. I never could pronounce it right. I'm just gonna say tops from now on. But let's go ahead and get started on the video here real quick, and then we'll go from there.
Kabutopz, and it looks like my last video did insanely well. Over 20,000 views and almost 1,000 comments, I think, in 24 hours.
Wow.
That is obviously my highest
I'm a
commented
hobby
video of all
streamer,
time,
so
and I'm pretty sure my highest 24-hour peak of a video of all time. So today we're going to be going through some of the comments, answering some of the questions that other people had, and for the people that were actually not just agreeing with what I was saying, the people that said, hey, no, this is actually different, or, if they brought up different things, we are going to be answering a lot of those. So there's going to be an entire part of this video later on where I'm just going to be scrolling through the comments and addressing different things. But before that starts, I do want to actually dig into some of them. There were a lot of conversations that we had on Discord yesterday. We had like an
I
entire
realize
20
I'm
minute rant
probably
on Discord,
miking up here.
which was really awesome, getting different people's opinions on what it was. Because at the end of the day, this is not just a thing of me complaining. I want to see what you guys feel, and I want to see what everybody kind of agrees with and disagrees with, because at the end of the day, my platform is only to spread the voices of everybody else, not just mine. I don't want to use it as a platform of, oh, I hate this game because of this, or oh, I like this game because of this. No, it is everybody getting together, kind of like a hive mind. That's the way that I'm looking at it. Honestly, the video yesterday got so much attention and a lot of nice comments. A lot of you guys were saying you agree with me and a bunch of stuff like that, and it was very nice to see that. I also got my first ever reaction video. I think his name is Jim Reviews. He reacted to it. I watched part of it. It looks like he was kind of mad at Star Citizen stuff. I think he's not aligned with Star Citizen all the way, but it was really cool to see my first ever someone reacting to my video. It was really cool, really cool. So we're gonna go over everything today. I just want to make sure that you guys know that the continuation of the conversation can happen over on Discord as well, with the Looking for Group channel. If you guys end up wanting to play notifications on videos, live streams, giveaways, all that, join the Discord in the link in the description. Let's do this. Before getting any deeper into this, I do want to go over the Spectrum post first. This is the Spectrum post I posted yesterday after the video got like 10,000 views or so. Basically, I put the pinned comment that I said on the YouTube video here. I also put a link to the video, titled it this, and the link in the description of this is not only going to be in this video, but in last video, it has a link to this as well. I want to go over this a little bit because some people brought up some things that I wanted to talk about, specifically Akanto. This is something that I did not mention yesterday that I do really hate. He says that CIG keeps spending time fixing harmless stuff and patching things nobody asked to be changed, but players can still abuse bugs to take real money items from other players. Now, if you guys don't know what he's talking about, basically, he walked into Grimhex. He was going to his hangar, and if you didn't know it, Grimhex, people can follow you into your hangar. Now, that's something that apparently CIG is okay with because, one, it hasn't been patched out yet, and there's no communication that I know of so far if they really want that in the game or not. Sometimes
All right, so in regards to this, I highly, highly doubt that that is an intentional thing. Why it hasn't been patched up yet, I don't know. But if they're going to have hangar instances or you have a personal instance of your hangar, then I would imagine that's not going to be something where they say, well, only at these stations. It's going to be like game wide. So I have a feeling that that is just hasn't been fixed yet. Um, but again, unless you're on the development team and you're actually seeing what the conversations and you're hearing what the conversations are going on, in the boardroom, and hey, we want this, and hey, we don't want that. And I mean, you really can't tell until we get a comment from an actual dev. Unfortunately, most devs will not respond to YouTube videos, or even on Spectrum. I mean, forums, we never, ever, ever on Sony, we never, ever looked at the forums. That was just not our thing. They had people that took care of the community, community managers. Devs did not get involved. So, and even when I was working third party contracts, I mean, we never said anything to the public. That was just something that you put your head down, you did your work, and got out of there at the end of the day. So, yeah, I'm not surprised about that. I do think it's probably a bug and it probably needs to be patched. However, who's to say what's priority to them and what's not? Um, and that again, it's a backroom conversation and a decision that's made by team leaders and their supervisors and things like that as to what priorities are what. So it could just be that it's on the back burner to be fixed later. Won't know much more about that until we actually get word from SIG itself.
Of my moderators say that CIG actually does want that in the game, which I think is a little bit crazy. But if you guys did not know, if you get meleeed from behind, so if someone comes up to you and presses middle click, they can take whatever weapon you're holding in your hand. So one way that they can do that is, let's say you're at a contested zone, you're PvPing or you're PvEing. Let's say I shoot you, you get downed. I can walk over to you, and instead of finishing you, I can pull out my medical device, a pin, a med gun, whatever, and I can res you and then middle click you when you're on the ground, and then I can take your weapons. Yeah, you heard that correctly. So if you guys take hours and hours to craft a weapon, if you guys buy one with real money, it is able to be stolen. And I think that's a horrible bug, or if it's not a bug, it's something that CIG needs to address because that is terrible. Another thing I want to go into, and I do apologize for where my camera angle is. Let's move that puppy up there for a little bit. But I just want to say Deadlock brought up a good question. Now, he's a member of my community for a long time, and he said if it was easy to earn money, or sorry, to earn your way to a ship, then where is the challenge? He says, in my opinion, play games for the adventure, not to just hammer through everything, unlock everything, and then get bored when you no longer have a goal. Now, there's
All right, so before he responds to this, I'm going to respond to that. And a little bit about me. I bought this game back in 2017. The machine that I had couldn't run it, and I was like, okay, well, I have this game. I can't do anything with it. So fast forward to 2025, I finally got a nicer machine, something that runs it well. And at that point, I started playing late 2025. All right, so basically that makes me a brand new player almost. All right, so I came in and I had the Aurora, and then I ended up getting through a gift a Mark II, and then I bought a Drake Vulture later. But let's be completely honest. When Deadlock says if it was easy to earn your way to a ship, then where's the challenge? In my opinion, play games for the adventure, not just to hammer through everything, unlock everything. Then you get bored because you no longer have a goal. Well, that's not true though. This is a sandbox MMO. All right, so there's always going to be something to do in it. You can go out and mine, you can go out and salvage, you can go out and do bounty missions, you can do merc missions. I mean, there's a ton of stuff. There's going to be a huge crafting system. There's going to be medical. There's going to be, I mean, there is refueling. There is a lot to do, and I'm pretty sure in a sandbox, environment, they're going to have other activities. Like you might even be able to go down to the planets and fish if you want to. So I mean, that's not necessarily true, but here's my thing. All right. I've already spent, upwards to $300 on ships. Okay. Real money. And I still do not have the ships that I necessarily need. Sure, the Drake Vulture will get you a pocket change. It'll get you enough to get started, pay for your armor, get you some crews, get some ammunition, but it doesn't pay for things like a raft. Like you're going to need an Argo raft to haul. You're going to need a better salvaging ship. With right now, it's terrible. We have the worst salvaging ever right now. I'm I don't want to get too far into that because he mentions it later, but I mean, there are things that you need. A combat ship if you want to try combat, but all of these things, if this is quote unquote an alpha, is stuff that we should be provided in some way. It shouldn't be we have to go out and earn a bunch of AUEC. If we are in an alpha, then we are play testing and we are reporting. Okay, most play testers get paid. Unless, of course, you're in a Kickstarter program with a studio that doesn't seem to care if you playtest. I'm not saying it's SIG, but sure looks like it. But I kind of feel like if you want me to go out and like say refuel, all right, sure, I'll go out and refuel, but you should be giving me the ship to do it in because you want me to play test this new system. I shouldn't have to go out and spend hours upon hours grinding up AUEC to go out and buy a ship or to do this, that, or the other to get this ship or pay $60. So not only did I pay you to play the game and bought a couple of ships already, but now you want me to pay you even more to play test the brand new system that you need play tested. Does that make any sense to you? That doesn't make any sense to me. Why would I pay you to test the game and to work for you only to have you charge me more? I It makes no sense to me. Anyways, let's get back to the video because I could get on a rant for hours on this.
Multiple things that I want to go into this because honestly, this isn't what I was saying at all. The entirety of Star Citizen is finding out what you want to play. So if you have been playing it for a long time, you definitely know that. If you are newer to the game, then when you guys jump onto Star Citizen, a lot of what the game feels like is grinding money. So we have to address the two situations of the game. There are the players that have realized that making money in Star Citizen doesn't matter that much. And then we have the people that are just starting off the game. And in order to do anything in the game, they have to have money to get a ship. So when you guys have these older players, they think, and it's specifically shown in last patch when there was duping and so much stuff where billions were going around, people were straight up saying, well, what do I do now? I have everything I need. I have everything. I got gifted $1 billion. Now I'm able to buy every ship. Now I'm bored. That's all a lot of people were saying. They were bored. Well, with that, it not only shows that money doesn't always buy happiness, it buys the ability to do whatever you want, right? And in Star Citizen, it's a kind of game where once you've been playing it for a while, you realize that the major point is not to just make AUEC and have every ship. It is to do a gameplay loop that you love. I have a lot of friends that play Star Citizen that only mine. I have friends that only do cargo hauling, and that's just what they do. Me personally, I like doing a little bit of everything. Refueling, yeah, that's terrible. I don't even know why I would ever do it. It's so boring. But PvE, PvP, I like going to PAFs, blowing other players up, and looting rare armor. That's what I'm into. When not doing that, I like doing cargo hauling or just things that make money. I like doing ship PvE as well. Vaughn missions and things like that that were removed from the game. That is what I enjoy doing. And so the thing necessarily isn't that you need a mission that makes you so much money. It's just that most of the missions don't feel rewarding, right? If I go to a refueling contract, you have to earn so much rep in order to get something that's even decent, and it's still not that fun for me, right? So why would I do that? I need something that it is going to give me AUEC corresponding with how much time I put into the game. That's why I make my 1 mil, 2 mil, 3 mil an hour videos, because when you're playing the game, as a dad or as a person that only has 2 or 3 hours to play, let's say a day or maybe even a week, you don't have the time to jump on and do mediocre tasks. You want to be able to get a ship. And what Deadlock is saying is that, in his opinion, you shouldn't be able to get a ship easily. Well, that's still not what I'm asking for. If we're doing a 1 million hour guide to get a Taurus, we still need to do 8 hours. Now, what is the point for you guys? And if you guys want to leave comments about this, how fast should you be able to get a ship? In my opinion, an 8 million ship, that should take 5 to 6 hours to get or something.
I can kind of agree with that, and in a way, I can't. Well, I think it should really be a matter of the type of ship you want. I mean, you don't just go straight into a Connie. Um, that's just not how it usually should work. I mean, you start out with some of the lighter, the starter ships and things, right? And the higher you go, the more expensive they get, and but you don't just jump from, hey, I have this brand new Mark 1 Aurora in my hangar. Now I want to go to a Constellation Taurus. I mean, you just don't. Um, you have to learn the game a little bit first. And maybe that's something that they should incorporate into their thinking is while you're learning the game, maybe you're earning another ship. Or maybe you can, at some point you're supposed to be able to find derelict ships, pull them back, fix them up, and then go and get a relicense on them, which, yeah, I would love to see that sooner rather than later. But he's got a good point though. I don't think you should be just immediately, right into a Connie, and and it should take a couple hours. Now, I'm not gonna lie, man. Salvaging is so nerfed right now. I mean, I can make between 277,000 and 285,000 per run, but I'm doing it in a Drake Vulture, and I'm going basically. I go out, I scrape 2 or 3 ships. Um, process the RMC, go straight back to somewhere in Pyro, rods, rats, ruin, wherever. And I sell my RMC, then I go straight back out. I take more contracts, and I keep doing that. And I've been doing that for days. I managed to get enough to buy my Argo Raft, which was 3.5 million or something like that, a few days ago. And then I've been working on rebuilding my money again because I just wiped myself out. And now I'm up to about 5 million. But the problem with that is, like in salvaging in general, um, the Vulture is great. It really is. It's efficient. It's quick. You can move around the ships that you're scraping a lot quicker than you can with anything else. It's a great salvaging ship with one major flaw, and that is it'll only hold about 13 in the filler station, and you might be able to stuff 23, 24 boxes inside the cargo hold. And it's such a pain in the butt because you fill up so fast and then you go back and you have to drop it off. And then by the time you get done dropping it off, then you got to drop it down. And here's the thing is it kind of puts you in the situation where you can't log off during all this. Because if you log off, you lose your stuff, right? So you have to go back. You have to drop it either in a hangar, which, let's face it, the hangars, they work when they want to. The freight elevators. Uh, Pyro is really bad about that. Um, like my small hangar was bugged for almost a week after the patch came out. I mean, ever since the patch came out, actually. I think yesterday was the first day my hangar actually worked. But it wasn't until I switched into a medium hangar, used that, and then went back to the small hangar, and then it started working again. So, I mean, there's so many problems with it. But, that's salvaging for you. And I'll probably repeat myself at some point, but I'm exactly like he is. I like to play a little bit of everything. My org is a bunch of older veteran players, right? And like he said when he, was saying, well, the older players are like, it's just money, it's no big deal. Well, yeah, it's no big deal for you because either you've bought your ships and you've got a huge fleet of ships, so I mean, you have no need to worry about money at all, or you've done this so much and been through so many wipes and so many problems with the game that you're just kind of like, meh, yeah, they did it again. I mean, I was just talking to one of our org leaders for Black Sun, and he was saying, it's kind of funny watching you go through this because to me, it's just another Monday, or another whatever. It's just another day here in Star Citizen because they've done it before and they're going to do it again. They're going to nerf those missions and they're going to change where the loot is and they're going to change how much loot you get and they're just going to mess with it because they always do. And he's like, no big deal. But for me, it's a huge deal because that was my moneymaker. I went out, I salvaged, I got up to where I was a senior contractor. I started on C2s, M2s, and A2s, and once in a while the Hull Cs. And I brought back the stuff, cashed it in, and I was able to start buying ships. And with the ship prices so high, like the Reclaimer, oh my God, 31 million. I think it's 31. It might be 33. I mean, just getting back to that is going to take forever. I mean, it might be another wipe before I ever get back to that Reclaimer. But even if I did, it's broken because bugs. You go and you take the construction salvage to the refinery to make it into construction material, and it spits out a bunch of null and void empty boxes. And now you're stuck with 2,000 boxes in your hangar that you have to take out into space and hopefully jettison somewhere where no one's going to run into them because they don't do anything and you can't do anything with it. So, yeah, salvaging really needs some help. But, anyways, let's get back to it.
Don't think it should take 400 missions. I don't think it should take 200 missions, which means if you want that ship, you're going to be able to need to make 500,000 AUEC to a mil an hour. And currently right now with the Vulture, I mean, it's hard to do that. It's hard to do that with the Vulture. Salvage has no entryway that's good. It's a really weird situation that they need to fix. And that's a whole nother thing I would like to get into. But salvage has been neglected as a whole. And something that I will bring up that a lot of people talk about is the future plans for the game. I want to go over a comment that I had in the Discord yesterday, and you guys are not going to believe this. Okay, so he says, also, there is a difference between early access and early access. You can have an early access to a finished game like Diablo 4 did with their 3-day early access when you buy the collector's edition. He said you get 3 days early access to the finished product, and you can have early access to an alpha or beta test state of a game. Now, this guy went on to say even more stuff that was just absolutely nuts. He was over here talking about that the game isn't a game. Guys,
All right, just to comment on that. He is absolutely correct in that you can have early access to a prototype or to, something that is going to be a tech demo, right? Which is basically an alpha. All right. It happened with Responding. It's happened with several other titles that I've been involved in. And that's okay. It's okay. And then there's, of course, your early access for the premier or the subscribing members, like the I don't know what tiers you would call them. Like the ultimate tier subscribers and whatnot, where they get several days earlier than everybody else when they go into live. Now, here's the thing, though. We are live. This is live service. Regardless on if you want to call it an alpha or not, it's live service. Have you ever heard of any AAA title, and this is supposedly a AAA title, that has been a 10-year alpha? No. No, you haven't. And if you have, well, then it's insane, because that is a long time to be an alpha. All right. It blows my mind, right? But anyways, let's let him finish this up.
I just want to make this announcement. If you've raised $1 billion in funding, if the game has been available for 13, 14 years or whatever, let's even say the past 5 years have been playable. If you have had a game that long, it's a video game. There's more content to do it than Doom. Look at Doom. That's a video game. How would Star Citizen not be considered a video game? Just because it's early access or they plan on adding additional features or it's not the 1.0 release does not mean that it's not a video game. Okay? It does not mean that it doesn't require love and attention from the devs because it is different. This is not a platform like when you're looking at a video game, let's say Subnautica, and it's on the Steam page, and the game isn't out yet for people to play, and maybe sometimes there's a little bit of tests going on or something. That's not what Star Citizen is. Star Citizen is a live service video game where things are happening at all times. There are developers still coding the game, and there are still hundreds of thousands of people playing it, okay? This is a full-fledged game, and just because they have a 1.0 release coming out whenever that is, that doesn't give them the right to say, hey, we're gonna neglect bugs, we're not gonna input these things into the game because we're still adding things to the game and we're gonna do a clean, like, sweep of everything when it finally gets released and we're going to make the game better. No, no. They said that this was going to be the year of stability. The only stability I have is when I close.
All right, so I don't agree with that statement. And the only reason I don't agree with it is because at this point, they're hiding under the veil of being an alpha, right? So, and because they're using that terminology, it basically voids any kind of liability or any responsibility they have other than to continue to work on the game. Um, at this point, I mean, I hate to say it like this, but at the end of the day, if Chris Roberts was to say, I'm bored with this. I just want to sail around on my yacht for the rest of my days. I've made enough money. Let's just pull the plug on the whole thing. He would just be out of your money because you didn't really pay for a game yet. You paid for a digital asset, and sure, he could, send you the file for that or something. But at the end of the day, it's still an alpha. And if you read their terms of service, I'm sure, absolutely, 110%, you're going to find in there that they're under no liability for anything right now. So, I mean, I kind of disagree with what you said, but I think that you expect certain things to be done like they're supposed to. I mean, I do. I mean, you should have somebody working on bugs, but in a way, the way development works doesn't always coincide with the way the player works, or the way we think. Um, because in development, you might not want to touch this system because there's something new replacing it later, and there's just no point in diverting your workforce to work on this when it's going to be replaced by this. So, I mean, I can see why some things might get neglected, but if it's such a big deal, like the duping thing, why was that even a big deal if you're going to wipe anyways? Who cares? I mean, I really didn't care. Your economy doesn't matter anyways because we're all playtesting, right? So, and you want people to fly the ships, you want them to playtest this different systems. So, I mean, why not just give them the damn ships? I mean, in my opinion, um, or at least make it like a little easier to get them in game. I'm not saying 2 hours and you've got yourself a Connie, but you know, but I mean, I just don't see why there was a need to like nerf certain missions and things, the salvaging stuff. I mean, those cargoes, the titanium that you used to get out of those cargo haulers, oh man, it was so nice. And it helps so much. But you have to work so hard to even get to those. And then when you get there, which I'm not there yet, I am about an eighth of the way until I'm going to be in senior contractor to test this. But if what he's saying is true, and they just basically completely cut it off, and said, nope, no more titanium, then I mean, what's the point, man? You made me work for nothing and I'm not even going to make any money doing it. So, I don't know. But, anyways, get back to it.
The game and I take a break from it and I go kiss my girlfriend and we go spend time at her parents' hot tub or something like that. That's the only time. Okay, I'm not getting stability and happiness when I'm playing the game. I feel like I'm going to scratch my eyeballs out of my sockets because every single time I jump in, there's a bug. Okay, when I play other video games, that doesn't happen. I played Rainbow Six Siege last night, dropped 11-0, dropped an ace, dropped 12-2. Like, it was nuts. It was fun. Where were the bugs? Oh, there were none. Okay.
Just to point out, Baldur's Gate 3, 6 years of development, $100 million, flawless. Not a single bug. No crashing. Everything worked. Polished. Beautiful game. And yeah, no bugs. So it can be done.
Because normal games don't have bugs. Star Citizen is not a normal game, but it's still a game. I don't understand this whole concept of people saying that just because it's not out yet, it's okay to have bugs. I don't want to call them bootlickers or anything, but I want to say that these people need to wake up. I don't understand what they're talking about. Yes, the game is going to come out eventually, fully, right? That doesn't mean that right now it should not be in a playable state. When people have spent money, this is coming from a guy, look at me, $10,000 spent on the game. You heard that correctly. I have spent $10,000, but It's not 10,000 for, me to have ships. I've spent only about 200 to 300 of that money on myself, including my game package. I've given away the rest. So, as a guy that's given away that much money and stuff for ships, I think I know a thing or two about Star Citizen. Don't even get me started on ships like the Odin that aren't going to come out till after 1.0. If you are buying a $5,000 ship or almost $6,000 ship and you haven't used store credit that you've built up for the last 5 or 10 years, I need you to seriously look at this and think, what could that $5,000 do for you now? You could buy a motorcycle. You can feed your family. If you are living at a place that has, let's say you're sharing rent with somebody and you're spending $700 a month on rent, you can live for almost a year. Or instead, you can buy a ship that is not released yet. Let's get on to the next point. I want to bring up a comparison for you guys that might help a little bit in this in development stage kind of thing that I'm talking about. So some people said, yesterday there was a guy that said the perfect comparison for him was that Star Citizen's been in development, let's say 13, 14 years. He said, it's the same, and I was complaining about the bugs that were happening in the game. He said that it's the same as if I went up to a toddler and I expected him to work a 9 to 5. First off, that made me blow up in my mind. That is the worst comparison I've ever heard of. Let me give you guys the best comparison that I can think of. Let's say that you guys have a main street in your town and you drive on Main Street to get to work, to drop your kids off for school, to get food, to do normal things that you would in your neighborhood. Well, let's say that for some reason they went under construction. They are putting up roadblocks and there are cones there and there's signs saying, watch out, you're supposed to take a detour somewhere else. Well, that's what in development would be. Okay, normal development, you're not able to cross, you're not able to go there. That's like when you have your games like Subnautica or something like that, that you can't actually even get into yet. Well, I mean, now you can, but you can't play yet because it's still in development, right? You can't go past that. Then let's say after 13 years, well, not even 13 years, let's say after about 2 or 3 years, because the beginning was the Kickstarter phase, they open it up because now you're able to drive on the road. But now when you're driving on the road, they unpaved it and now it's just dirt, right? So you go from a regular paved road to dirt for a little bit and then back up to a regular paved road. Now, let's say that has been that way for 13 years. Now, when you guys are driving to work, your kid has gone from 1-year-old to a 14-year-old, and the only road that they have ever known to get to work, to get to school, is that dirt road where the road goes from asphalt to dirt to asphalt again. But what they have also noticed is that is the only road that they can use there, and it has some bumps in it. When you're going off now there's potholes and there's things like that. But the city has taken 14 years to fix it. Now, is that a road? Yes, it is still a road, just like how Star Citizen is still a game. There's more potholes and now there's rocks and stuff in the dirt that are messing up your tires when you're driving over them, similar to how there are bugs in Star Citizen. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying here. Just because the road is in development and the construction team is taking forever to finish the road, but you've been able to drive on it every single day, it's still a road and it's still under construction. It can be both at the same time, but the city is still held to the standards of, hey, you need to fix this road. I'm tired every day where I'm hitting a rock and it's jumping up into my car and it's breaking my hood or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Now I hope you guys understand that kind of point, right? That's the way that I kind of look at it, that it's still a road that's being used. It's still something that should have care done to it, and they should be focused on fixing it as fast as possible and making it better, because you can't lay down this road and finish the road without creasing out all of those little rocks and bugs first. But they're not focusing on the rocks and bugs. Instead, they're taking a different government contract and they're freaking filling a pothole over in Timbuktu. That's what I'm saying. I hope you guys understand that kind of relation to it. The next thing I want to go over is a guy named Mr. Silva. He left a really, really nice comment over here. He says, truth. They have 0 reasons to fix it. From a business standpoint, they have no need to. We're way past just making a good game. Month after month, funding records are smashed, and the community as a whole fully supports with their wallets exactly what CIG is doing. I can't say if I was them, I'd be doing anything different. It's truthfully become more of a ship collecting game than anything. I love it. I hope the best for it. But he says it will either go down as one of the greatest space games in history, or it will go down as something bad. And I don't want to say that because I don't want to give any hate to the devs. And if I say words like that, they might get really mad. He said, I hear your frustration. You do a great content. Just keep it up. I want to say thank you first off to Silva. That's a really nice message. And this is why I like doing these kind of videos, because I'm getting people that are at the front of it just saying, hey, this is a good vid, man. Thank you for having it. Then another person like drops a comment and they say, dude, I agree with you. This is a really good video, blah, blah, that stuff. Or you have people that say, I hate it, and they don't add anything to it. Mr.
All right, so yeah, I mean, without saying what you won't say, um, I have thought that a few times. The thing is that, and maybe it's just the way I'm feeling about it. It's just some kind of way that it's rubbing me the wrong way. That you release a brand new ship like the Ironclad, and the command module's broken on it, but you're charging $650 for this ship. And it just seems like, when the patch came out, it was a big spin on let's see what we can sell them. And it was not about improving the game at all. It seems like it. I almost feel like you're driving into like one of them big car dealerships where, you drive in and there's a band in the corner playing, there's hot dogs and food trucks and people dancing around and having a good time and trying to sell cars to you. All right. But that's really all it is. It's a big show to sell very expensive X or ones and zeros. I mean, these are digital assets. You know, $650, man. I mean, that's fuel in my car forever. I mean, I can drive forever on $650. I mean, that's a lot of cheddar for a model and access to it in a game. The $5,000 Odin. Holy Jesus. Anybody that buys that is insane. I mean, come on, man. I mean, that to me says problem, like you have got a psychological problem, probably, or some sort of like addiction to shopping and to paying for these things. You $5,000 for a digital asset that isn't even going to be out for a year. More than a year, because 1.0 is not going to be up next year. There's no way. So, I mean, you might be waiting 5 more years just to fly the damn thing you bought yesterday. So, so it's kind of like, wow. I mean, some of the guys in my org, they're good guys. I mean, they really are. But I do question their sanity sometimes. Like, we got one guy that, this guy is like, he's got the top, whatever you call it, you're considered this, concierge or whatever, he's some sort of like big, because I bought so much, I get this title, and he's got all of these ships, and I'm thinking to myself, I think it's cool that you have all these ships. Do I think you spent way too much money? Yes. Do I think it was irresponsible? Absolutely. Absolutely. Even if you're rich beyond your, beyond all means, if you can just drop 15K on a complete collection of like the Aegis or the Drakes or whatever, that doesn't mean you should. And I'm just thinking to myself, it all comes back to this. How many people do you have in your household? If you have one, then clearly you can only drive one of them damn ships at a time. So why do you have two? Well, you have two because maybe you want to be a hauler tomorrow. Or maybe you have three because you want to be a salvager. But combat, hauling, salvaging, and a capital ship. 4 ships and you're pretty much set. I mean, why do you have 40? I don't get it, man. Um, I mean, it must be nice to be able to just throw money around like that. I kind of feel like, I mean, my wife would kill me if I spent $5,000 on a freaking model online. I mean, sorry, but that's just a little insane to me. But anyways, let's get back to the get back to the video.
Nova is doing the best of both worlds. He is showing that not only he's understanding what I'm talking about, but he is bringing up his own points that I completely agree with. If I was making Star Citizen, why would I care about fixing the bugs? I already saw that this YouTube content creator is going to make videos over anything because it's his job and he needs to do it. So I got him wrapped around my finger. I don't need to do anything else. We could throw him a ship to give away every month. And guess what? He's making money. He's giving away ships. He spent $10,000 in the game. Why would I change the game? This guy, these people, I've gone to Instagram, I've gone to Twitter. I will see people on Twitter, by the way, guys, that post that they got into the Odin thing. Their essay was enough, and now they have the ability to buy a $5,000 ship. There's no other game than Star Citizen where someone congratulates you on spending money. I read a comment to my friends last night because here's the thing. I posted a YouTube post that I spent $10,000 in the game, and I said we got the F8C, and I was basically saying it's such an awesome journey that I was able to give away that much money. I thought it was really cool.
My warrior of light, walk free and bear the light for others.
And I had people congratulating me that I spent that much. That's a different thing that I was going to get into. Now, I understand it's really cool to be able to get to that point, but when someone's saying, "Oh my God, congrats, dude! It's so cool that you spent that much, and you're a wing commander role," and I'm just like, dude, that is horrible that you think that way, because it should not be a congratulations that you spent $10,000 on a game. If you were playing any other video game, people would laugh at you and kick you. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I completely understand spending so much money in Star Citizen. I understand it. I love the game. I get it. I'm giving away the AUE or the money. I'm doing all that. It's fun.
Yeah, see, I agree with that in a way. I mean, yeah, you spent $10,000, but it wasn't really you spending $10,000. I mean, you know what I mean? So, I mean, it's different. It's the people that just. I mean, how could you congratulate somebody for that? I'd be more like, does your wife know? Does your girlfriend know? Do your parents know? What's your credit card bill look like? Because holy crap, I mean, I'm sorry, but that's an insane amount of money to spend on a video game. It just is. You know, in the lifetime, and I started in beta in World of Warcraft, there is no freaking way I've ever spent more than what? Maybe $2,000 on the whole game for all these years? Maybe? And that was over what? What are we on the 15th anniversary? Something like that? I, holy crap, man. So I'm just saying, I mean, I get it. As a content creator, yes, you're going to, you have those benefits, right? You can give away those things because, someone's tossing you a ship to give away some sort of promotion or part of your subathons or whatever. And yeah, I can see that. But just the idea of someone blowing that kind of money just melts my brain. I mean, it's so irresponsible. It really is. And I hear this all the time. You'll be looking and people are complaining about, oh, well, the job market is so hard and I can't pay my rent. But you could spend $5,000 on an Odin, but you can't pay your rent. I mean, these Gen Zs and millennials that are out here that are complaining about cost of living, and then you see some of them on here spending 10, 15 grand. You're going to be in credit card debt forever. It's probably a good thing you're not going to college because you're really going to be in debt. So, I mean, just saying, be responsible for God's sakes. Besides, who's going to, do you have an org that's like 100 people strong that can be manning the turrets on this thing, or help them with the ship? Or do you have that big of an org? I mean, who's going to fly the damn thing? So just saying, it's just insanity to me. I mean, it really is.
But the thing is that it has a different business model, the predatory spending model and stuff, fear of missing out when ships are only available for purchase. And the thing is that Star Citizen is the only game where I see someone saying, congrats on spending 10K. Okay. If I spent $10,000 on League of Legends and I bought every single skin, people are going to call me a freak. Okay. I want you guys to realize that real quick. Star Citizen, yes, you can do things with the ships, but it's still such a weird, not echo chamber, but it's such a weird community where people they love it when you spend more on that, which is a whole other thing. I freaking love buying stuff in the game. Why not? Right. So let's get on to the next point. Another comment from Kitsune. He says, I find it funny that you treat this as a fully released game when it is still in alpha, meaning it's still in testing. There are going to be issues, but I also think you brought up some good points. Well, thank you to him for saying that I brought up some good points, but just because it's an alpha doesn't mean it has to be buggy. I don't understand what this misconception.
All right, while he's swallowing his tongue. um, no, that is not true. All right, so it's not a misconception. It is an alpha, and it is in development. And the rule of development, if you've ever been in development at all, is that you fix one thing or you add one thing and you break three others. So the more you put in, the more you break. The more you have to fix, the more you break. And it's an ongoing, never-ending process. And it's just, that's why, when you hear a C++ or a C programmer go, it's code it, debug it, code it, debug it, code it, debug it, because you're constantly going to have to be doing that. Well, I forgot the compile part, but compiling is a pain in the butt. But anyways, it's going to be that kind of a cycle where you're constantly going through and you're trying to fix the problems. You find more problems. You fix that problem. You find another problem, and it's just a nonstop cycle. So, I mean, at the end of the day, an alpha is an alpha, and my biggest thing is that it's a spin doctor term that the community's using to, I think, satiate their anxiety. All right. So whenever something goes wrong, it's an alpha. It's the same way with Gen Xers when we go, it is what it is. It's the same thing. They're doing the same thing. They're just saying a different thing. They're saying, oh, it's an alpha. But it is what it is. I mean, because what are you going to do about it? Nothing, because SIG is hiding behind the fact that everybody's calling it an alpha, even if they're not saying, outright, well, it's an alpha, and, pointing that out every 5 seconds. But the community has basically built that up to such a thing that it's kind of just a widely accepted, it's an alpha and get over it, It will be buggy. I mean, it just will. Because these guys, from what I've been following in the development, they've had great ideas. They put them in and then they pull them out because they had a better idea. And, so there's going to be yanking stuff out, putting stuff in, and things are going to break. Things are going to be better, and then they're going to be worse. And that's going to be an ongoing thing until they actually get something they can settle on, implement, and then adjust everything around. So, I mean, that's just development. I mean, development 101. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. It's not really a misconception. I think it's used too much as an excuse in a coping mechanism by the players themselves. But I mean, it is what it is.
Excuse me. Oh my God. I don't understand what this misconception is with people that just because a game is an alpha or beta, it has the right to be buggy. Like, yeah, it's a game that's going to be coming out, but it's not in alpha if it's been out for this long. It is the second most funded game behind GTA 6, I'm pretty sure, which is insane. Okay, when you're making a game for 10 years or whatever, and it's been out that entire time and you can play it, and you can play it fully like this, where it feels like a full release, not like other games. It's the same thing as Tarkov, Escape from Tarkov 1.0. Okay, when they released the 1.0 version, it was almost there was almost no difference between 1.0 and the update that came right before it.
All right, so you are right there. It's technically not an alpha at this stage. I have never, ever heard of an alpha being this long before. And I've been doing this a long time. But it is beta, and beta is still going to have bugs and issues, but those are supposedly when you're in beta testing, that's when you're supposed to be fixing and polishing these things so that you can get to a live release. And we are technically in beta. So unless there are just so many systems that they're going to replace and so much new stuff that they're going to put in that they can't call it a beta yet, which really it's a matter of perspective by the developers and by their team leads and by their the people in charge as to what they consider to be a beta and alpha and what's a live release. Now, the fact that this has been 10 years, actually 11 years, because it started in 2015? So yeah, 11 years. I would certainly think by now you could call it at least a beta. Now, whether or not, SIG does or not, I guess I don't know, but for me personally, I consider this a beta, and I do expect the bugs to get fixed, especially the ones that are causing us all the problems. I don't want to get wiped every 6 months because some idiot decided to dupe because they didn't want to grind. Of course, they don't want to grind because it takes too freaking long. So, and all of the stuff that you grind to get has been nerfed. So, you're not making nearly as much in-game credit to buy those ships. Like I said, if we're play testing, then why not just let them have a ship? Let them have the ships they want. Let them do what they want with it and test the systems out. I just don't see a point of doing what they're doing. It seems really ridiculous. Some of these pledgesters, at a 1 billion, I think when I read the thing, it was $1,012,999 has been crowdfunded to SIG for this game. Holy crap. GTA 6, with the newest technologies and with Rockstar behind the helm, is estimated to be between $2 billion and $3 billion by the end of their development. But, yeah, $1 billion should get you a lot further than you are. I'm just saying.
Okay. The thing is that yes, the game's in development, but that doesn't give an excuse for why the game can be so unplayable at times, because it's still a full game. One other thing that I would like to bring up is the 4.5 million AOEC an hour video that I'm pretty sure a German creator made, or something along those lines, for refueling. Why has that not been fixed yet? We saw a video about it 2 days ago, and that's not fixed. How come the gameplay loop of refueling hasn't been fixed yet, but our salvage contract has? If you guys don't know, basically, when you're refueling and refueling and refueling and refueling, you earn enough reputation to get to this one mission where it is an ambush mission. But instead of there being an actual ambush, there's just an Aurora. So you get paid 150,000 AOEC to fly to this mission and blow up an Aurora. Meaning that if you guys get to the correct reputation, you could bring out a fighter ship like a Gladius or something and blow this ship up, grab the mission again, and get 150k each time. Making it almost the exact same amount of money as the 227,000 AOEC mission with the Hammerhead. Now, what I want to ask people is, how come that's not fixed? People told me that, bugs like the Gilly mission and the salvage contracts are easy to be fixed because you just go into a spreadsheet and they change a couple of things. It's not an actual error or bug like other things that we experience, like quantum drive and stuff like that.
That is not necessarily true. You have to understand that just because it looks simple doesn't always mean it is simple. Like, say you want to change, like, say you've got a Dungeons and Dragons game, right? You got a mage, and the mage class has this spell, spoof or something. And spoof does X amount of damage, and you need to change that because the damage is too high. Well, you get in there, then you figure out that, the damage is too high, but if I put it here, then it's going to be too low. So then you have to start looking at the armor tables for the armor ratings in a different piece of, code. It's a whole intertangled network of different programming, functions that make up a system like that. So, could it be as simple as just doing a spreadsheet? I doubt it. But it's not as difficult as everyone makes it out to be either. Really, a lot of bugs that we've come across over the years, it's been, you spend 3 minutes looking for it in the code, because usually it's a huge code base and you're sitting there and you're searching through and grep until you find it. But once you've found what you're looking for, it's usually a pretty quick fix. It just depends, however. I mean, if you got a terrible team or you got a terrible department that's working on this particular part of the game, and they don't comment their code well, you don't understand what's going on, then you have to call them, and then you have to find out what they know, and then they got to find the guy that wrote the function or the method or whatever, and then you have to find out what he did and how he did it, and then it gets relayed back through the supervisory back to you, and then you have to go ahead and tell your supervisor, and then your supervisor gives you the instructions what to. It's a big, huge mess whenever something like that has to change, because it's not just a straight up, hey, call Bob over there in combat and have him change this real quick. It doesn't work that way. You have to get approvals. You have to go through different people, and it might affect other things. So, I mean, it's not as simple as that. I wish it was, but then again, if it was, it would probably make for one hell of a terrible game. So, who knows?
Now, we had a bunch of conversations with people yesterday, bunch of people in Discord, bunch of people in the comments saying that they are game devs, and they said that it's an easier thing to fix, the salvage contracts and the ghillie missions, than other bugs. But what I am asking CIG is, how come they don't throw us a bone? How come it feels like they are way faster at patching this? Let's say, even if this is so easy where they have to go in and they have to change a couple buttons, how come they're focusing on fixing the only bug that is giving us AUEC? More players are having fun with it. I am begging you, CIG, release the stats of how many people completed those missions compared to other missions in Star Citizen in the past week.
All right, so this is my theory. Now, I'm not saying this is absolutely 110% correct, but it's my theory that there's a reason why they did that, because they're trying to take your attention off of doing these other things and to focus on things like the refueling missions. They want you to test out the new systems, and so they're nerfing the old systems in order to get you to do so. I also, somewhere in the back of my mind, I have to wonder if they make their focus refueling for this particular patch, and they've put out a $60 ship that they want you to buy to test it. Maybe that was the whole point. Was someone in marketing said, "Ooh, we can actually make some money on this. Let's go ahead and offer a $60 ship, make fueling, absolutely paramount to make any of the AUEC, and so let's do it that way. Maybe that'll get more people in." Because, I mean, at the end of the day, a new player, like myself, for the most part, I don't know of all the money-making methods. I know of the ones that worked for me prior to 4.8, and they worked well, and I liked them. And the older veterans in Black Sun Legion, the guys that I play with, they were pretty keen on saying there are other missions and there are other things you can do to make money. You just have to, be patient and to try these other things. And so it's not like there isn't a way to make money, but it's not the way that I prefer to make money. I prefer to be a salvager. I prefer to go out, scrape ships, grab guns, grab cargo, and then take it back and sell it for a profit, because, man, that is the life. I am Sanford and Son in space. I come up, I junk your ship, toss the shit that still works in there, and off I go. And I like that. So, but anyways, back to the video.
How many people did the salvage method before and after I made my YouTube video showcasing how much AUEC you can make? How come when we're finally enjoying doing something, a mission that probably doesn't get any love or whatever until you guys accidentally messed up and made it too much AUEC, how come that's finally getting love and you guys remove it from the game, but then you have something like refueling that's still in the game right now and you haven't fixed it yet? Why haven't you fixed it, CIG? If it's so easy to fix those other bugs, how come you haven't fixed this one that's tied to refueling in the new ship that you just released? I don't know. The next thing I want to go over is developers playing their game. Now, I understand if you are a developer, this is directly towards you. Please listen to this. I feel for you. Okay, I completely understand. If I had a 9 to 5, let's say you get paid to go into the office and work from 9 to 5. Once that finishes at 5 o'clock, I'm not thinking about the game. I don't probably want to play the game. I don't want to test the game. I don't want to implement any other features or even think about the game. I want to go home, crack open a beer, watch a new episode of TV, something there, or a YouTube video or a streamer, and just enjoy my night. Okay, I completely understand that. Your mind needs to be off when you go home because at the end of the day, this is just a job and it should not be able to control your entire life, right? I get that. Okay. But when you're at the office, I plead that you actually play the game. Because my question is, how can these salvage missions go into the game? How can this hammerhead mission go into the game not working? And then in less than a week, it's fixed and back. But no other things in the game are fixed and back.
It's funny you should say that because development isn't a 9 to 5. It is, especially in studio life. You go into the studio and you've got a project that needs to be done. You're expected to be a team player. You're expected to stay for as long as they need you to stay, and then you get to sleep whenever they give you permission to sleep. That's the way it works. That's why a lot of developers burn out, right? So, but there's a lot of misinformation floating around in that statement that they don't test. They do test. If you're working in tandem with other teammates in a department that handles certain aspects of the game, you're going to test it. But that doesn't mean it's working correctly. That doesn't mean that they're going to catch that it's not working correctly. Because when you add that to the rest of the pot, you unplug the combat system, you do something to it, you plug it back in, and then the entirety of it has to be tested, right? So it could look fine. It could look like, well, this animation works great, and you get into the game and the freaking wing flies off whenever you hit the button. So, I mean, you just don't know until you get it in the game. Now, there is usually in every studio, there's some sort of internal testing that happens, right? So it has to go through its own quality assurance, usually internally in a department. And then it goes on and then it gets submitted into a repository or concurrent versioning system, whatever you want to call it. And then it goes live. But I don't see a world in which they don't test it. But then again, I just had this conversation with somebody else about a different game. We were talking about responding, and I said, look, you can program it and it can compile and it can look like it's happy and there's no errors and nothing is wrong with it. And then you can get in there and you can start playing it and you don't have any issues for 3 or 4 hours. And then the next guy gets in with a different computer with a different setup and crashes 30 seconds into it. That's the way it is in development. And it sucks because you think you did a good job. And then you find out, the guy, sends you a message that says, hey, man, I just crashed. I got a fatal error and crashed the desktop and I can't get the boat back up. And then you're like, oh, yeah, bleep. And now I have to spend that much more time trying to figure out what it was. Can you send me the specs on your machine? I need your DX diags. I need all your information. Are you up to date on your drivers? Have you done this? Have you done that? And then you got to get all that together, figure out what the problem is, and then try to add it into the next fix. Not to mention the fact that even if you have all that information and you manage to get everything the way it's supposed to be, it could be a manufacturing problem. It could be that you're using an AMD chipset and the AMD drivers are flaky and they like to crash a lot. It could be that it's a NVIDIA. It could be an Intel thing. It could be anything. And you just don't know until you know. It's that bad. It's really just, a needle in a haystack as to what's going on, and you hope you get it fixed the first time. Sometimes you do, and sometimes you don't. I hate to be like that, and I know it sucks to hear it, but, that's the way it is.
Okay, you guys, I feel like, aren't playing the game. Any normal person that was playing would see that, hey, if this cargo mission has 150 SUs of titanium, and titanium is 8,300 per SU, maybe we shouldn't put that in the game. Maybe we shouldn't put that so that people can not only get their hopes up, but see those things. Is there no thought process there? Do you guys not test the things like that? I just don't know. I want to know. I want to know. And by the way, guys, no CIG dev has responded to any of the posts I made or contacted me or anything yet. Just wanted to make that clear. We're getting ghosted, boys. We're getting ghosted. They don't care. I'm not big enough yet, I guess. So hopefully these next videos do good, because they just don't care. They don't want to answer. I mean, it's like that.
It's not a matter of not caring. Internal stuff that's happening in development usually involves an NDA. They're not allowed to talk to you. There are certain people that are representatives of the development team and of the studio that you have to go through to get that information. I wouldn't expect, John Doe from, the Department of Shipbuilding to come up to you and say, hey, I just wanted to let you know what's going on, because that's not usually how it works. They're not allowed to just reach out to you whenever they feel like it. Well, they could, but they'll lose their job doing it. So I wouldn't expect that. Now, you could get an official message from somebody from SIG that is actually, supposed to be sending out those messages. That's a possibility, but I mean, who knows if they're watching these things? I don't put a lot of, I guess, stock into social media, because, in my time when I was in development, social media wasn't big like this. YouTube and all that was, it was still relatively new. TikTok, what the hell was that? I mean, we still had like MySpace and stuff. I mean, it's some old stuff, So, I mean, it was really not that big of a deal for us, but there is certain representatives within the company that handle those public, outreaches and stuff to let you know what's going on and to release information. And that's all very censored anyways, and it's very carefully worded, and it's very carefully considered by lots and lots of important people before it ever goes out the door. So that's probably why you won't get a response. And if you do, it'll be very candid, and it'll be carefully worded. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Now, what they decide to fix, like I said before, and what they don't, there could be a reason behind it. It could be to motivate people to try the refueling missions. Maybe they want to see who's going to jump on board and do it. Maybe they want to see if they can get more sales out of it. Hey, $60 per player, and if you've got 2,000-3,000 players that are online that want to try it, I guess it makes sense. So I don't know. I mean, it's a win-win for them either way, but it's lose-lose for us. So I mean, it is what it is. But anyways,
The guy said they have a platform thing that's working. Why would they change these bugs? Why would they answer something like this? They don't need to. At the end of the day, people are still going to buy ships. I'm going to make this video. We're going to make this next one. I'm going to take a break for a couple days on Star Citizen. I'm going to come back, play the game. Everything's going to be fine. They're going to throw me a ship to give away every new patch, and we're going to have a good day. Is that what's supposed to happen? Is that a healthy way of doing this? It's like an abusive relationship, or a relationship where the people just don't care to listen to you, and then they just hope you keep coming back.
The answer to that is yes. It's very abusive. Not in the sense of like, it's not like someone's beating you with a stick or anything to buy these ships, but at the end of the day, I mean, it sure seems like it's nothing but ship sell-a-thon all the time with SIG. And it's starting to feel kind of old and outdated. And I'm like, the more people buy these ships and the more they keep dumping money into it, the more SIG's going to keep selling them, because, hey, you're just making them even richer. I mean, $1 billion crowdfunded game right now. $1 billion. Like I said, 100 million for Baldur's Gate, 6 years of development. We're at $1 billion. And people are still buying these ships like they're going to be gone tomorrow if I don't get them right now. And yeah, there is that dangling little sensation in the back of your brain when they say, well, it's for a limited time only. And so all these people that think it looks like a cool ship and, oh, I could really enjoy that, they go out, they buy it. Now, is it a good idea? No. Should you be doing it? No. Because you're just promoting more of the same by doing it. If you want SIG to listen to the community has to stand up and say, okay, we're not going to buy any more ships until we get some of these bugs fixed. That's the only way you're going to get it taken care of, because they're going to keep producing ships and selling them to you otherwise. And, if it gets fixed, great. And if it doesn't, well, hey, I got a brand new ship that breaks when I try to take off in it. But hey, it's brand new and it looks cool in my hangar, unusable. So just saying.
No, man, it's a little bit weird, but that's just what I feel like. Someone left a comment. They said they need to do QA on some of their ships. Namely, I have an abusive relationship with my Ironclad. And he goes on to talk about the command module. There's still bugs with the Atlas Geo and the Atlas where you get in them and die. How are things like this in the game? How are things like this in the game where ships are still bugged? Okay, guys, I want to go over one last comment here before I end, because there's been so much love from you guys. Okay, it's insane. I'm reading a comment. Appreciate the vid, mate. I don't even experience the bugs right now, but I love the video, or like just people just being nice. But over here, Saif Mohammed left a really funny comment, very long as well. He says, "Never have I felt a video resonate with me this much before. I get so frustrated trying to play the game because of all the glitches and bugs going on that I am still experiencing for more than a year. When I played the mission Gilly 7, he said whatever the name is, I noticed the hammerhead was spawning and I literally went, fuck. No, they did not just fix the mission. Ain't no way. And what do you know? They fixed the damn mission in such a short ass fucking time. I couldn't believe it. I look at the time daily at how much time passes playing Star Citizen, and I feel like shit, since the only way I could get paid or enjoy the gameplay is after going through constant bugs that shave hours off of my time. The fact that the team in Star Citizen fixed the hammerhead spawn in less than a month, well, by the way, less than a week. Okay, guys, it was less than 7 days. Okay, proves that they have the capability to fix year-long bugs and tweaks in matter of weeks, but chose not to. I regret giving my money to the company. Okay, I'm just gonna say, guys, that was an amazing message.
That was an amazing message. I mean, it really was. I got a kick out of that one. And yeah, I get it. I do, man. I really do. I find that, yeah, some of that stuff just doesn't make much sense to me. It's like, oh my God, you managed to fix this, but you can't fix that. But again, like I said earlier, I mean, a lot of things depend on what they've got lined up, what's being replaced, what's being changed in order to change this, that, or the other. And it can cause some issues. But yeah, I mean, I get it, man, because Jesus. I mean, the command module thing was really funny. So, but yes, absolutely.
And if you guys don't believe it, go click on that video. There's 1,000 comments. You will be surprised by how many of them are exactly like that. People that are not only just fed up with the game, but people that want change. And I'm going to leave you guys with a final thought of why. Why is Star Citizen able to continuously do this to us? Why are we not able to get proper care from devs like other video games do? Why are we putting up with so many bugs? And why are all of the best missions being nerfed? Okay, I don't know, chat. I don't know. Guys, it's just bad. I think that, yes, these missions can be easier to fix than other missions or other bugs in the game. I understand that. But why are they fixing these? Okay? Oh, we need the economy to be right, or this and this. Bro, just be quiet, man.
No, they are right. The economy is an issue. I mean, you can't get a sense of what the economy should be like, what the pricing should be like, what the ship prices should be like, what the fuel costs should be like. None of that when you've got people that are exploiting the system. But then again, if you're going to leave missions in that exploit the system and they get all kinds of money without having to really fight to get it, I mean, you're kind of defeating the purpose, you know? So, I mean, but you are right in a way and then you're wrong in a way. So, I mean, yeah, it does have something to do with the economy, but they're also looking at other things too. Gameplay, yeah, mechanics and flow. Um, where's the focus at? What's the more popular areas of the game? What's not working the way it should? I mean, they are watching this stuff. But like I said, I mean, you just never know. They could have, a 30-page booklet of stuff sitting on their desk that they have to wait on because this department over here isn't done with their part of the work. So, I mean, it sucks. And I see why they're doing it because that's development, right? So, I mean, it sucks for the players. As a player myself, instead of actually working for the company, um, yeah, it sucks. It does. It's nothing but rough patches lately. This 4.8 patch, I mean 4.7, I loved it. 4.8, not so much. The fact that they nerfed the AUAC in the cargo hauls and the cargo drops for salvaging, I mean that's just tragic. I'm still going to grind my way up to senior contractor, and I'm going to try it. But just to see if maybe it's not all of them, maybe it's just a lot less of a chance. I could be okay with less of a chance of getting that full, C2 full of titanium or a whole C full of titanium, but I still want to be able to get it once in a while because that 5 million credits comes in really handy when you're broke. So, just my thought.
Who cares, dude? Go fix something else instead of this. There are still bugs that are not being fixed, man. When they made the hotfix for 4.8 or whatever before it came onto live servers after the maintenance, there was an entire there were 6 things they said they fixed. None of them mattered. None of them were bugs like QT bugs or stuff like this. It's like, oh, we fixed when you would go to a contested zone, it wouldn't depressurize you the right way. That's cool that got fixed. Nice. You helped out the people with the contested zones. What about anything else? I'm like, cool. You got 1 bug done out of 6. Like, dude, it's blowing my mind. They'll talk about oh, there's a bug that we fixed with the Tumbril Nova MFD. Dude, who the fuck uses the Tumbril Nova, brother? Like, are you tripping? Like, you're smoking crack or something. No one uses that. Like, you are gaslighting me into believing that you're fixing bugs because you guys post that there's bug fixes, and when you read what the bug fixes are, you realize that they're absolutely nothing to do with the game as a whole. There is a guy that is getting paid $200K a year behind a desk, sitting there fixing a ship that no one has used in 6 years, compared to these ships that are broken getting released now. There is a $650 ironclad, and we still can't use it because the command module detaches. And this is the only game where people have to actually say, hey, there's a fix for this bug. You just have to do this and this and this. No way we're playing around bugs. So, yeah. Have a good rest of your day, guys. If this video does well and there's comments and stuff like that, I will make another going over everything else that people say. I know there's a lot more that people are saying that I wanted to respond to, but there just became too many comments, and I love you guys. I love you guys. I've been trying to read all of them. 900 to 1,000. It's just amazing. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for sharing your love with me. Thank you for the support. Make sure to like and subscribe. We gained about 200 new subscribers off that video. If you're part of that 200, thank you for stopping by, dude. Hopefully you had a great time, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
I really enjoy this streamer. He does a great job, and I like his expressions, and I like that he's down to earth, right? So he's not being over the top. I mean, he's saying what he feels, and what he's seeing. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think he's not calling like Chris Roberts any names. He's not accusing the company of fraud or anything like that. The whole scam thing that went around where they thought this was a big scam. $100 billion. Could you imagine if it was? Oh, I mean, the axe would come down hard on them. So I don't believe, not for 1 second, it's a scam. Do I think they've bounced a lot back and forth between decisions they've made and directions that they were planning on going during this development, and it has caused major delays. Yes. But I just got to say, I appreciate you, Kabutopz. You did a great job. You always do. I enjoyed your beginner videos on how to make 1 million, how to make 2 million, 3 million. I actually followed along with those because my guys in the org were like, "Oh man, just hang with us, and we'll just go out, we'll just do this, and we'll do that." And I'm like, "No, man, I want to go out and make my own stuff." You know, I don't mind handouts once in a while, but I didn't want to be a burden to my guys. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna try earning my own stuff my way, and salvaging was it for me. It sucks that they basically nerf salvaging to a point where it's really not worth doing. You can still make money. I'm up to about 10 million. Well, I'm up to 5 million, like 600,000 after spending 3.5 on a raft. So now I have a Drake Vulture, I have an Argo raft, I have an Aurora Mark 1 and an Aurora Mark 2. And I'm about to go get the F7C-M Hornet, the Mark 2. I think that's at Lorville or something, or it might be the other place. I can't remember. But I'm thinking about going and getting one of those, or possibly saving up for the Guardian, because I'm already this far into it. I might as well try to get the rest. But and while I'm doing that, I'll continue salvaging. I'll keep trying to make money so I can check out the senior contracts and see if there's any chance at all that we're going to get those drops. But I really appreciate you, man. You do a great job in your videos. And yeah, salute to you too. You have a great day.